Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen.
We love that
the
music.
Stream. Honestly, I dig it as a guitarist myself. This is something that fills my heart with joy to hear metal music being played at a Rainbow Six event. But hey, welcome back. I'm Systematic. With me is Fresh.
I'm back.
Jess is back to the hotel. She's chilling. Finally, we can actually get down to business.
Yes. And down to business we will get.
Yes, and actually, the thing with this game is that there is not much business to
No,
be had.
there's not much business for the next couple of games, although on the A stream we will be seeing, the two teams we'll be seeing, and on the next game are all teams that will be in the playoffs come Friday.
So let's talk about FaZe v Rogue. First up with FaZe and what they got in their clan, as they call them. First from Copa Elite, and they are of course through with 12 points, I believe, to the 11 from Rogue. If I'm not mistaken, there might be, plus or minus 1 point. Astro, Cameraman, Cyber, Bullet, and Souls. I will never stop digging the hairdo as well. It looks like a really odd Matrix slash. I really feel that they're about to sing, Butterfly. I don't know if you remember the song from early 2000s.
Are you going to sing it for us?
No, I unfortunately cannot. DMCA
Okay.
will catch.
Got yourself out of that one.
Yep. But it is good to see FaZe in good shape because, well, it's been a while. They have to perform well with, especially Team Liquid not being here at the event. LATAM looking pretty, and FaZe looking to be the best team out of it.
And this roster missed Mexico, right?
Yep.
Which was a big kind of disappointment / embarrassment for them.
There's been a lot of them.
They came back into groups and they came back with a vengeance. Obviously, their opponent's Rogue, no mean feat, but they came, in terms of FaZe, they came back with a point to prove.
And there it is. Prano, Aces, Leon, Rips, and Cryan. Leon, honestly, all it took is a bit of airsoft, a cat, which honestly would make everybody's life better, and Bernadette Mipi in the staff to really pull this whole team together. Cryan went to the gym today.
Did he?
Yes, in the morning.
Fantastic. He's always going to the gym. I mean, look at him.
It looks good, not gonna lie.
I thought he looked at the camera then just to look back, but...
No, I think he's contemplating, what am I doing here?
I wonder what operator he's going to play. That's what he's thinking.
Oryx.
Oryx. He loves a bit of Oryx, actually.
Actually, see, it fits well with it. But then which map is he going to play Oryx on? There you go. That's the question we're asking. Look at that camera work to pull out the map band. It's so cool. Clubhouse is going to be on. Cafe Dostoevsky banned out by FaZe Clan and Coast. Before that, by Rogue. Fresh, your thoughts?
Funny thing about the Oryx thing was Rogue actually played Clubhouse against Vitality in the last game of EUL when they were both confirmed to come here.
Yep.
And there was an abundance of Oryx played by Rogue.
See?
They just had a great time. They had a run around on Clubhouse and a lot of Oryx play. So maybe a bit of the same again. But for Rogue, they got burned earlier. They tried to just play a little bit free and they got burned, losing to Chiefs. So they won't want to do that again.
Well, FaZe versus Rogue. Again, both of these teams are qualified for the playoffs. They'll be playing on Friday, and we will figure out who they'll be playing against later on today. So stick around for that. Prano's introduction to the team has definitely been a bonus in every single way, a positive for the team. Kind of reminds me, in terms of what Prano has done to elevate Rogue, as Bride did when he joined DS.
Yes. He raised their ceiling. And he really gave them an identity, and I think that's the problem Rogue had before, is they had some players who were, thinking more Corey and Rips, who were a little bit more reserved, wanting to play Siege in a more, dare I say, proper way. We know how Leon likes to swing things. We know how deadly a gunner Aces can be. We're starting to see the potential that a lot of teams have seen in Crime, and Prano understands the aggressive side of the game, and he also understands when he needs to keep those players on a leash, and he's kind of been the one that's tied it all together. And I know we spoke to Mipi. I was actually in the airport with Mipi before we came over here. He said Prano just does not stop talking during the round. He just keeps the information flowing, telling players when they need to run it in, and then telling them when they can when they can go for peaks. And he kind of just controls the whole process, and we're seeing the fruits of that because he's getting so many plants down there attacking so well.
And actually, I compared Prano, like being on Rogue, to what it was coming to BES. You can say the same thing to Cameraman being on FaZe.
Yeah.
because he has brought identity back to the team that has been having a lot of struggles over the past even couple of years. They had some good results, but not at the level where you expect, okay, you hear FaZe Clan and you're thinking, okay, they're like the top 3 in the world, right? Well, they're actually on the way there. They're the best in LATAM, winning Copa Elite. They come here with, we're thinking, okay, that game versus Team 1 didn't mean anything. How are they actually going to be? They smack people around here in the groups. So far, so good for FaZe, and Cameraman is just pulling everybody together.
Yeah, these signings that you get, they just elevate the roster. They raise the ceilings of the roster and just enable 4 more players around them. I'll compare it a lot to Secretly from Na'Vi, for example. Brede did the same for BDS. BDS became a coherent unit. Na'Vi, when Secretly joined them, became a coherent unit, and all of the other performances of the team just raised.
It's always, I mean, it is a 5v5 game, of course, but the impact that one person can have on the mentality of an entire squad is definitely visible. You can feel it. But an update on our schedule, just in case you missed some games today: 7-1 T1 versus Dark Zero, 8-7 OXG versus Rogue, 7-5 Nip versus the Sonics, 8-6 Furia versus Damwon Kia, 7-4 Dark Zero versus Sandbox. And now we are in FaZe v Rogue. 2 more games to go: BDS versus NIP and Space Station versus Damwon Kia. Now, BDS NIP doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, but Space Station versus Damwon Kia is incredibly important, because at the same time, Empire are playing Furia, and depending on how these 2 matches go, that can decide the final team to join us in the playoffs. But at the same time, if you are curious, there is a second match going on our Bravo stream. It's been active through the past couple of days and will be on until the end of tonight. So if you want to catch on there, it's twitch.tv/Rainbow6Bravo. That is Rainbow 6 as in the number, and then BRAVO was his name-o, as some would call. Whatever, we're here. We got Rogue and FaZe. And honestly, from the point of view of, well, you're already through.
Yes.
What does this game matter for teams like this from your experience as a coach?
I mean, I was never on. Actually, I was on one team that got through, but then we lost to Fnatic.
Just take it as you go.
It's about practicing skills, specific skill sets. The result is relevant to
staring by my soul.
Oh, I know.
Oh,
I feel like he can see us on the other side of the camera.
He is called Cameraman.
Yep, he knows. Oh, he's shaking his head.
Oh no, he's disappointed.
He doesn't like what I'm saying, clearly.
Disappointed Cameraman. Chat, I'm so sorry. Let's just wrap it up. We're going home. Cameraman's disappointed. That's about it.
Coming back to the point, though.
Go ahead.
When you're in this kind of scenario, obviously this match matters for seeding purposes.
Yep.
That's pretty much all it matters for. But when you're on a team, you want to practice skills. So setting up crossfires, keeping your aim warm, which is something that's probably more of a mental thing for players, but it's still relevant. Keep your aim warm. Keep your communication warm, practice your teamwork, and also get a sneaky look at your opponent, because whilst, you know, these shouldn't be against each other anytime soon, semi-finals, potentially grand finals, they could come back against each other. So there's lots of things still to learn, and it's just about making sure that you don't halt your momentum, because a couple of bad losses, as much as you're already through, if Rogue lose 2 games today, that can start affecting the mental side of the game. Yep. And as you can see, the mental side of the game is significantly important. It's why we speak so highly about Bernadette on Rogue. She does such good work to keep their mental strong. That's what it's about today, is keeping their mental strong.
And unfortunately, this is something that you cannot quantify as an analyst. It's just, how do you quantify the mental unless you are a registered psychiatrist that has experience in sports psychology, and then using that going through, and you can't heat
I
your
think
eyes
Leon's
like
mental's
that.
Pretty good.
I think the mental is out of the building. This is
in the bin.
In the bin, exactly. Those are hand warmers, by the way, for those that are not sure. They are great to have to keep your hands.
You actually had some in your, so you was wearing some really nice boots that I hope come out on the playoffs later in the week. You actually had some inside your boots yesterday.
Yes, and they kept my feetsies really warm.
There we go. It is very cold in Sweden, so they are much needed.
Yesterday it was. Snow melted 5 minutes later. Who would have thought? Well. Fresh, thank you very much. Our lobby is ready, so ladies and gentlemen, thanks for sticking around with us. We got FaZe, we got Rogue. Have fun.
everybody. Let's get underway with our matchup between FaZe Clan and Rogue. This one is purely for standings and for bragging rights. Both of these teams have qualified for the playoffs that'll be happening on Friday. Nick, do you think we're going to see a real spirited, competitive matchup between these two teams?
I mean, this is a surprising part because, as you said, they're both qualified, and in the game of Rogue Oxygen earlier on, which went down on Cafe, it was a bit of a frag fiesta. But we are playing Clubhouse, which is typically less of a frag fiesta map, but I think they'll put on a show for us, Parker, one way or another. 61% of you folks at home said FaZe Clan takes it home, and 39% in favor of Rogue. So it's semi-close, I would say, but Latsum reigns supreme, as they have been throughout this group stage for the most part.
Operator bans coming in now with FaZe Clan starting on defense between these two teams, and I wonder if we're going to see any funky bans here.
I think we'll see a few funky bans. I am curious if Thatcher still goes through. No, the first funky of the kind is Hibana, albeit, it's not a crazy funky one. It basically makes the basement bomb side a lot better for the defenders, but with the Thatcher still on the board, I am curious as if Rogue will take it out. They say yes, we will. So not so funky after all, perhaps.
No Thatcher allowed to be in action here on Clubhouse. These bans are a little bit more ordinary overall.
Maybe they actually want to play for bragging rights. They want to say that, Rogue, we're on top, or FaZe Clan, we're here to stay. Either way, regarding of this result, we'll both see them in the quarters and forward, or at the very least for the quarters.
Who knows, depending on where they end up, they might only go to the quarters and not go much farther.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, you can still make that joke about Rogue regarding getting first rounded. Sure, they made it out of their group stage, but there's still a quarterfinal, which technically counts as a first round of playoffs. So I will hope for their sake that they make it to the semis at least, but we'll see about that soon enough, as we have a break tomorrow, and then the day after that is when the quarters, they kick off.
Operator bans are in, by the way. Kaid and Valkyrie will join as those two that are not allowed to be played. This is the first time that you and I will actually be casting both FaZe Clan and Rogue here in the event, so that'll be fun to watch.
Surprisingly enough, yeah, and I mean, at first I thought, Rogue, what are they gonna bring to this tournament? But they have really, really impressed me so far, and Prano in particular has been an outstanding member both in the EUL, which is one thing, but also here at Sweden. He's been doing a phenomenal job both in the fragging department, the planting department, and just overall cost and value that he's been bringing onto the table. Speaking of Pranos, speaking of Rogue, got Leon gets on Sophia, rips on the floors, Prano and Thermite crying on the sledge grenades, and Aces on the secondary heartbreach of Ace, who will bring those Selma charges. And on the defense of FaZe, we got a typical lineup. We got a Jaeger, Melusi, Smoke, Cameraman on the Mute, and Astro on the Wamai. Not that Souls and Bullet and Cyber don't deserve an introduction, but it is what it is. You know who they are. They're all great players here. Pretty standard setup so far. Of course, FaZe will play on that aggressive roam as they most often do. The Latsum aggression is no different from FaZe, although this is a very different team than the FaZe Clan that we knew of just 6 months ago, when Cameraman got picked up again to join FaZe, as he's been here in this organization before. They kind of restructured, and Cameraman took over and took control and made the team a lot more organized. If I could put a name to them, I would say that FaZe is a European-ish performance, but with that Latsum explosive twist. And I'm sure we'll see more of that as this round progresses.
So, with Rogue's lineup being what it is, they'll have plenty of soft destruction at their disposal, ways to clear utility as well, given the fact that there is no Thatcher allowed. No fun whatsoever, Nick. Not allowed at all. I don't know why I sounded almost Australian there for a second. Not allowed.
Not allowed.
Oh no, and Leon Gids isn't allowed to play either. The Zofia. Down bad. Cyber jumps out the window, kills Zofia, and gets right back into blue and then runs down Secret. That is a fairly bad blow for Leon Gids and for Rogue early on.
Yeah, Leon Gids has been playing with our camera crew here at this event, but that round in particular, he was the one to get played by FaZe, and it's the opening kill for Cyber in particular, and FaZe on a strong defense, opening kill for them, 4 versus 5, and that is a bit of explosive gone from the side of Rogue. That means that Rips on the floors will have to step it up and take control where Leon couldn't, as he will be one of the few explosives left, of course, outside of Kryan's grenades. Prano sitting tight on 2 smokes. Those will be crucial when we get to the execute, but right now Rogue are looking to make something happen. C4 comes down below, and Aces somehow manages to escape with his life. C4 was not blown, but it was right beneath his feet and would have been a kill if detonated. Very unfortunate for FaZe.
Oh, and there's a kill from Rogue coming in. It's their very first. Aces takes out Super Astro. I actually do miss that super trend, by the way. Super Liven, Super Bibu, Super Astro, everybody that used to use the old super name, and then Big Bad Nadian as well when it would show up. On LAN, you can customize your name, and this is what the fools choose to go with. I think it's quite enjoyable. Down, though, it goes Astro, the Wamai not available. All the magnets that are out will be all that's left. No more to be thrown.
Yeah, Rogue realized that they have to do something else as that kitchen hatch is not going to work. It'll be a blue take instead on the blue hatch and the blue stairs. Nick comes out a swing with that indeed. It will be the injury from Aces, but he gets shut down by Caraman a second for his trouble as he shuts down the entire push from Rogue with the pump from the shotgun. Bullet finds one, but Prano says goodnight. It is a 1 versus 3, and Prano will have to walk down the blue stairs straight into the crossfire of FaZe. This is a very deadly situation. Barbwire is still on the ground, has to be dealt with. 2 punches it will take as he has no explosives to deal with that. The smoke toxic babes comes out, the smoke gets traded out as well, but Cyber now will swing and stay true to his name as the aggressive Latin player, and he will also win the gunfight. FaZe takes the first round. Rogue got destroyed on the kitchen take, but they rotated, although it was denied.
Well, really well played on their end by FaZe, not breaking much at all in the process. Seemingly having every advantage going in their favor. That first pick, obviously, just the first bit of snow that led to the avalanche. Leon gets going down meant that there was less soft destruction. There was one less body as well to work on flank watch. And when you know that you get the first pick on defense, you can flank much easier because of that numbers advantage that you have. The opposite works on attack. On attack, you get that opening pick. You know that unless they're desperate, you don't need to worry too much about a flank unless it's already been baked into their strategy. We say this because on a map like Clubhouse, it's entirely possible that you've got 3 players roaming on that top floor while defending the bottom floor. So you might still have to worry about your flank, but that's not because of the fact that they're at a disadvantage in numbers. That's just the way that strategy boils down. That said, round number 1 in the books. The second opportunity for FaZe to see if they can still remain perfect on defense. We'll go upstairs to CCTV and Cash.
Yeah, I just want to give some kudos to FaZe Clan. With the Hibana being banned from them, they started basement, and we spoke a brief moment about that. Hibana being gone basically makes the basement bomb site the preference for most teams, and the reason for that is, of course, that Hibana is the master when it comes to destroying hatches. She has a bunch of pellets, can do 2, 4, or 6 at a given time, but with Hibana being off the board, it can be very tricky to use the thermite or the Selma charges from Ace to actually get those openings. One could argue maybe the can openers, aka the secondary heartbreach gadget, could be useful, but even then, if you play the impact denies on the defending side, even that won't matter too much, as they will just get cleared. Now, Leon went from Sophia onto the Ash, perhaps wants a different gun, or perhaps just said, you know what, I didn't have enough fun, so back to the old school roots of the Ash main himself.
Well, I mean, that's a formidable role to be on, and you still got some of that explosive potential that comes with the Zofia, albeit far more limited. You also don't have the disruptive ability that a Zofia brings, and those concussives can be arguably more valuable in certain instances than any explosive may be. Down goes one of those proximity charges. Leon gets to the rescue, as now he's on blue, but he can't be outdueled by Super Astro. Good thing he's got Rips there with him to gun them down. So a refrag comes out from Rogue, but still that first kill does go in favor of FaZe, albeit for only a few seconds.
Yes, it's honestly really nice to see Rogue having a tight formation. Leon did end up losing the gunfight despite the yellow ping coming through, meaning that Rogue did know the whereabouts of Astro on the flank. Rips manages to make sure that he did not die in vain as they can trade it out peacefully. There was a jammer on this wall. You can actually just repel upside down and then put that exothermic charge on it. With the mute jammer change, it got reduced in height. It will no longer reach the exothermic charge if you repel on that wall. Bullet from FaZe has been seen on this flank. Rogue knows the whereabouts because Prano has been doing some phenomenal drone work, and Aces has to make a flick onto the big pool table window as Bullet ended up going down below.
Just a bit of quiet now as FaZe still on this roam from down below. Like we said, no numbers advantage there for either team, so utility clear for Rogue is the focus. They've got a presence inside a garage, and that's Ace that's going to be watching the catwalk. Bullet is still on this flank position, and Ace has been given away by Souls, who loses most of his HP. Where are you, Bullet? You need to come to the rescue. It's a joint effort to take out Souls on top of the catwalk, and Prano is an absolute monster, and Bullet might be a little bit too slow to do much. It's just him and Cameraman left on FaZe's side of things. The likelihood of staying perfect on defense all but evaporated, but we've seen crazier things happen. There's plenty of time for Rogue to get sloppy and give up a single kill or two on behalf of FaZe Clan. And there's one of them to start with, but Cameraman is not long for more than a single kill. Rogue with control of the bomb site. Bolt will need to retake through Cash. Doesn't have access to any kind of denial, so he's just gonna hop through, but Aces has it lined up watching that vantage point, and Rogue answers back with a round of their own.
Yeah, I mean, Bullet just had to try there and jump through that road safe, but ultimately, you mentioned it, Bullet had to help his comrade up on that catwalk rafters. The help was not found as Bullet kind of stayed a bit passive, ended up going all the way back through the main stairs, up through master bedroom, in through connector, and then into Cash. But at that point, Cameraman had already fallen on site, and Bullet is left 1 versus 3 with no deny. And of course, he couldn't just have gone below because Rogue controls that area as well. Remember, this entire engagement from Rogue was made by Prano, the support player. But he's not just any support player, he's a very lethal one at that. He can plant, he can clutch, he can kill, and honestly, he even caught Bullet on that flank on his own drone inside of master bedroom. This is just a Prano diff so far, and he is up 3-1 so far, top fragging with aces on their team.
You sang his praises, by the way, before we'd ever even seen a single round of him in this matchup, and I'm glad that he's living up to the billing for you. Aces tends to dominate the conversation. He was one of the highest-rated EU players for a long period of time. Leon Gids the same way. When he was on I Don't Know, and then when he was on Team Secret, Leon Gids is capable of making an absolute mess for his opponents. Having a support player who can frag well is indispensable. We've seen a couple of them in EU, and I would argue they seem to be most common in your home region. I don't know what exactly it is over there with Europe, but when you see people like Shepard and Bride and Kendrew and yourself, for the record, there are a lot of players who can carry that weight while doing the thankless tasks. Prano is looking to add his name to that list, and well, he might still be a relatively new-ish player to the top level, but he's already made quite a sizable mark.
Yeah, if Prano keeps this up for a season more or 2 in the EUL, I definitely think that his name can be put on that wall, at least for consideration. But the only thing to consider right now is how did Cryan die? Well, it was up from above from Cameraman with that SMG-11. Great use of verticality to deny the entry points from the attacking side of road. Leon Gids, another formidable player that we spoke about earlier, might have to prove the point to us right now, and he's looking to get both a frontal attack and an attack from the back. Cyber is on the roam, looking for something. Here's the claimer being put down, and as Leon Gids falls off the stage, Cyber finds him from behind. No bullet gets fired back, and that is simply just a free B that Leon Gids has been provided, or has provided once again. Having a tough start so far from the UK lad, but I'm really happy to see Leon back on land events. He brings a lot of joy and fun with the camera crew that we have here, and I'm all for it.
A couple more rounds like that, and the catchphrase isn't going to go from Leon Gids isn't so great. Are you kidding me? You weren't kidding. Oh, okay.
Oh, man.
So Leon, if you want to live up to that copy pasta that all of them like to spam in Twitch chat, you gotta improve on that. Another kill happened, by the way, while we were talking. Rips is down. There goes an exothermic charge onto the jacuzzi wall.
Yeah, so that's what I was referring to earlier. If you repel upside down the top end, the jammer won't reach all the way up, and that's the difference that you can use with thermite. This also works for the server wall, so not just for jacuzzi, which essentially means that thermite is a pretty good operator here. You can, of course, also use either the Hibana, that's banned this game, ignore that, but the Ace in this case at the very top, that will create a hole. You can then throw a grenade through that hole, destroy the jammer, and then continue on with your day. So you can almost argue that against the jammers from mute, the Hibana and the Ace is almost like a mini Maverick, but it's not a feed hole, it's like a top-end hole. We're left now in a 1 versus 5 as Prano has a tall task ahead of himself, and he has to make it work. He will have to take a timeout here.
This is your boy.
It's my boy, and
He's your boy.
He's vibing right now. I mean, he's looking in one direction, talking to his team, I'm sure, and saying, hey guys, what happened? And why am I left alone all out here by myself? And, you know, he hasn't moved yet. I think he's a Gargoyle cosplayer or something, Parker.
I heard the gargoyle reference earlier by Dez, by the way.
I had to steal it.
Prano's just waiting and trying to pad his stats. They might collapse on him here on the ground. There's a 4th kill, 5th kill. There's no recoil on the Thermite 556, eh? But, oh well. They managed to finish him off with the SMG-11 in hand, and FaZe Clan, as we already knew they were going to take the round, they make it official.
Yeah, I mean, Prano just wanted some more kills, and to be honest, I don't blame him, because you want to make sure that you're on top of the scoreboard if possible. I mean, it is a team game after all, but if you can shine a little bit superior to your teammates, you might feel a bit better about either the loss or the win, as you might feel like you have contributed more. Of course, don't let your ego take the better of you. Always keep that in check. It is great to praise yourself, but it's even better to praise your teammates and keep them up when their spirits are low, and that is what Cryan and Leon Gids and maybe even Souls from FaZe could use a little bit of now, as they have yet to be activated in this game. They are all three sitting on a 0 amount of kills.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
Yeah, it's a tough one, but it's early days. We just started out round 4, so only 3 rounds have yet to be played, meaning that they will still have their chance and still have their turn, and, you know, if anything, we'll maybe see an explosive 4th round, and they'll all join us along on the scoreboard.
I mean, these teams understand that they're only playing for seeding. And I mean, seeding might actually be quite important. It's something when you have a set bracket, if you know who you're going up against, you can actually play really well, or maybe take some time off if you think there's a more favorable matchup by finishing in a certain position. For example, some teams, and I have heard this from players before, some teams realize that going in as a 2nd seed can actually give you an easier path. This was especially true when APAC was around. If you're a 2nd seed, it means you have a chance of going up against a 1st seed APAC team and having an easier run through the brackets. And I remember this back in Atlantic City and onwards, when teams like Fnatic, teams like Norarengo were not on the same level as the APAC teams are today. Now, I say all this knowing that Norarengo made it to the, I believe they made it to the semifinals, if I recall, of SI way back. But at the same time, I mean, APAC has come so far. We've already seen that. That Damwon Kia versus Space Station game later today could determine whether a 2nd APAC team will make it into the playoffs. That said, oh my goodness, Leon Gids, are you kidding me? Again, he is the opening death, a commanding 0-4, the human equivalent of beans on toast. Because beans on toast is awful.
Oh, there it is. I mean, again, that's your opinion, Parker. You're free to have it, but I think Liam would disagree, although I think he is very unhappy with the timing of that situation. He was actually holding the angle for so long, he looked away for a brief moment and then got taken out in the back once again.
I will want to say for the record, so that nobody thinks I'm being mean-spirited, I am a huge fan of Leon Gids. I think he's a wonderful person. And he gives great hugs. I actually haven't gotten to see much of the players because of the quarantine/bubble that we are currently in at the moment, with the teams playing in a different location from us. But boy, oh boy, those Leon Gids hugs, they hit differently.
They are good indeed, and I have yet to see my man Carl, aka Alemo, and we gotta figure out a way to meet up at some point. Maybe it's gonna be during playoffs, maybe on a day off tomorrow, who knows, but what I do want to know is that I want to see some players, meet them, talk to them, etc. I think it's one of the best parts about LAN events, that you get to see and talk to people that typically is just like an online relationship, and given how long ago it's been since we've had proper events, besides Mexico of course, it's something that I very dearly miss.
It's a Nitro Cell that goes out and does not connect at all, and I'll echo what you said. I do absolutely miss the social aspect of it. As the events have gotten bigger, it's harder to see members of the community, and it's much harder to see the players as well, especially when we're under these circumstances involving a pandemic that is still ongoing. So, with that said, as much as we'd love to hang out with the players, I'm sure that they're having a good time with less distractions and less socializing. It should lead to sharper gameplay. Certainly in this instance, it's helping FaZe out quite a lot. They traded out one player, but then got it back by killing Aces just moments ago. Cryan knows that there's one playing down by dummies, but he can't connect with it. And if he peeks through that double doorway on the right by Moto, is Cyber holding this tight angle. Cryan will dispense of one of those grenades, but it goes off a bit too prematurely, and a nice shot on the Cyber. Cryan was prepared for that. The Renaissance that is Cryan isn't quite nice to watch. Prano in the middle of the site, he surrenders the diffuser, but a punch back from Rogue leaves Cameraman in a 1v2. This is a particularly damning situation. He has to drop, but he gets cut off by Cryan at the rotate. Well played by Rogue. Ice in their veins. Fist bumps from Meepy, and Rogue take their second round to tie the game.
Very nice. Mimi saying, whoa, whoa, good job, whoa. 2. Crying getting 3 kills that round, as well as saving it as we were closing in on that 0-second mark. As the kill came through, the cover at the very last moment helped Rogue take the round. Rips with a nice shot as well on the injury from Dirt. Prano did a nice job inside of Blue, delivered the diffuser even into the hands of his teammates, although he did get shut down. Rogue playing a nice, beautiful game of trading back and forth. However, it was Crying from the main stairs who had to find 3 kills pretty much alone to win that round. So well done to you, Mr. Crying.
I was talking about the renaissance of Crying. You'll recall when he was brought in on your team and the heavy scrutiny that he was under on G2. Yeah. But since then, Crying has gone through, he went through the wilderness. He wasn't playing at a top level and wasn't competing up to his potential. He comes on to Rogue, and he has looked like one of the missing pieces of the puzzle for this Rogue team. His performance on this squad has been a sizable improvement over what he got accomplished with you and with amateur teams. And it's nice to see him at this level again.
I fully agree, and it's something where if a player gets brought in and they don't do a particularly amazing job, whether it's their fault or the team's fault or whichever, doesn't matter. My point is, often they will just get like lost in the system and eventually fade away, and you kind of forget about them and teams stop considering them. And I was actually a bit sad for Crying because I liked the guy as a person, I liked him as a teammate, but in our team, back when he was in G2, joining under those terrible circumstances that he did, being a really short replacement, not having a lot of time to mesh with the team, and not really playing the role that he deserved. I'm happy he found a new home and could prove himself properly this time in Rogue.
Well, there's only 2 rounds remaining for FaZe Clan here on defense. They've already taken 2 rounds, but the good news is Rogue is where you want to be if you're an attacker on this map. 2 rounds for Rogue, despite what is a very heavily defender-favored set of bans. Kaid and Valkyrie are relatively typical here. Mira's available. We haven't seen much play from her. Now, finally showing up on the CCTV defense for FaZe Clan. About time to see what kind of havoc a Mira can wreak.
Yeah, it seems like the classic approach from teams these days is to put that mirror window onto the server breach to the outside wall, and it doesn't really have a crazy effect per se, but it does pressure the impacts that we're seeing from both Astro and Souls. 2 sets of impacts making 4, so if Rogue tries to breach this wall, they can try and make use of those. Cyber finds the opening kill onto Rips. That is FaZe contesting the injury points on the master and office side of the map, and they'll make sure that Rogue doesn't just get this completely for free.
You're at a point now where if you're Rogue, you just give up every single opening pick. The only time that FaZe hasn't indisputably won it, and they will continue, as Leon Kids is now 0-5. Absolutely snake bit at the moment, though Ace does trade back. Ace is, and Prano has one of his own. Though through the barricade, blind firing his cameraman. Trying to soften up the players from Rogue, but not being successful in that endeavor. FaZe Clan have gotten the opening pick in every single round, including round 2, though there was an immediate refrag. I can't believe Cyper just got that kill and will now continue to walk away on the other side of the mirror window, but he breaks it smartly so that there's no vision on him. Very well played here. 2v2 with a minute to go. Cyber playing off of this doorway over by Logistics. Rogue have to get to the bomb site. They have time to do that. They've got access to the diffuser. Prano, by the way, support player, 8-3 at the moment.
Very much indeed, Parker. This shield right here is going to cause trouble. As I say that, it gets taken out by the Summon Charge. Cyber on the prowl on the flank. I don't think Rogue knows his whereabouts. It doesn't matter. Souls finds the heads of Aces and looks with that Alder going brrr, brrr, but it does not matter. Cyber found the flank regardless, and him punching in that mirror window earlier really played off for him. It almost looked like a gym defense for the majority of that round, as 90%, or should I say 80% of the entire round and all the kills and deaths actually happened on that part of the map.
Absolutely. It didn't really seem like CCTV was that much of a focus.
No, it didn't, from either team.
Everybody was happy. The killing field was all the way in gym and bedroom. So, final defense for FaZe Clan, and they're going to go to gym and bedroom, the site, quote-unquote, that they might have just been able to hold had the bomb site been somewhere else. And like we said, it was the scene of the crime for the murder of Rogue. Rogue still looking for their very first opening pick. Leon Gids still searching for his very first kill. He's the only one who hasn't been able to get on the scoreboard. Now, interestingly enough, on teams in the past, when Leon Gids doesn't get kills, that does not bode well for the success of his team. The good news is that Rogue has quite a bit of depth, and I would say that the top 5-6 teams in the EUL all have that same level of depth where 1 or 2 players can have an off day, and that's okay, you can still remain competitive. But how different would this matchup be if Leon Gids woke up? Hopefully for Rogue fans, he does better on defense, because right now, no matter what he tries on attack, it is just flat out not working.
Yeah, it is a good point, and perhaps that's just the support effect that we have in Europe in those top teams, is that if you have 2 players not showing up, well, if your support player can also show up when it needs to be, like Prano is doing in this game right now, then all of a sudden you have 1-man player more in your power field, and that might just make or break the difference. As you said, Leon gets yet to find any success. He still has the final round on attack, but if not for that, he will need to show up on the defensive side. But knowing Leon, I do think that he's gonna enjoy the defensive side against FaZe, as he can start moving around the map where he owns the turf.
Cyber doesn't have 2 punches into that window. It looks like only 1, so if he wants to go for the jump out, he'll have to do something else. A complete reverse of what we saw on that previous round. Teams focused over on Gym Bedroom despite the fact that it was CCTV. Cyber obviously needs to spend some more time shooting at those blue balls in aim labs.
Astro doesn't see the jump because his scope is blocking it. It's like on the left.
Oh, there's Leon Gids finally kickstarting an attack by the motorcycle in garage, but he's not more than 1. A single kill for Leon Gids is all he's going to get before he gets dragged down to the grave. Cyber has his teammates back and immediately pivots up towards where we saw Astro playing on the top of the stairs. The only downside is that if Astro had a nitro cell, well, he died with it. It's not going to be available, and there is no plant denial other than the C4 from Bullet. So you've got 1 opportunity if you're FaZe. No backup, no recourse if you miss. Ace is now walking right in the CCTV and continuing over towards Cash. Remember that this bomb site is Gym Master, despite where the current attack from Rogue is.
Yeah, a big confusion there. I even put in my notes that last round was in Gym, but I just swap it around in between, as we are now in Gym. Before was CCTV. Bullet looking for a sneaky flank. He doesn't want to go too quickly here, as there is still 1 minute and 13 seconds left on the clock. You want to make sure that you flank at the right moment so that the attackers are busy looking into the wrong direction. Bullet knows this, so he takes his time, doesn't want to sprint, but Aces seems to have figured this situation out. Could be that drone below from before that we saw that Astro didn't find, and then Leon Gids took him out. And got 1 minute left, not much happening. I think Rogue are kind of feeling out the waves, kind of figuring out what's going on, but they figured something out because Cryan found Cyber from that off his hatch, but there will be another player to hold the drop in case Cryan goes for it.
I don't know how he was playing in logistics, but Cyber, the type of player to provoke a fight on that particular hatch. Not smart for him if he wanted to do that and give his life away with reckless abandon. Cryan gets taken out from that same hatch, by the way. Cameraman is the one in charge of contending it, and he's looking to see for a drop, as now Prano and Aces are going to walk right in. But on the ground, Cameraman out-dueling him. This is such a cheeky angle to play off of. Securing, but can't accomplish much more. Goyo with him side by side as Rips is looking for the walk-in. Prano takes out Cameraman. That's his 9th kill. Looking for double digits. Bullet shreds through Cryan. There wasn't much left, so he finishes the job. And now Prano will need a 2v1 clutch. Can he get 1? He breaks 10, but an 11 almost available, but in the 50-50, Souls walks away with it. The first half, 4-2 in favor of FaZe.
That is surprisingly close given what happened earlier in the round. It was quite unfortunate. Cryan got injured on the hatch, so Prano went up above on the rappel to help him, but then Aces went into office alone and got injured as well. And all of a sudden, Prano has to drop down the hatch as a single man standing as Cryan falls shortly after, and maybe Rogue should have just taken more moments. Do we rest Cryan? Do we not rest him? Do we go for it or do we not? They went for a bit of both, and they ended up paying the price, but nice try from Prano as he almost found both remaining players from FaZe. It was not enough. It's a 2-4 side swap, but now we're gonna see Rogue on the defense and Leon Gids with his signature Vigil into the 6th pick of Melusi. So aggressive, but a little bit more laid back as we're gonna go to the basement, where sure, you want to be moving, but at the same time, you don't really want to completely build your strat around running around too much, at least.
A reminder that if you have Prime Gaming, you can get your 7-day booster before November 22nd, as it says on the bottom portion of your screen. Yes, you heard that correctly. Not only do you get esports packs by watching this here esport. But if you are a Prime Gaming member, you can also get access to that 7-day booster through the Prime Gaming service. There's lots of other goodies. There was that great Hibana skin not too long ago. We also had a bevy of operator skins that came out way long ago. Jackal, Kavera, I think Twitch had one, etc. So always a nice perk, and the 7-day booster is invaluable if you're going to sit down and be a gremlin and grind out 7 days worth of Rainbow Six. Nobody's judging you for doing that, by the way. Get all the value out of that free 7-day booster.
For sure. So I guess what you're saying is any primers in chats? Anyway, the skins are getting better and better.
I was not saying that, actually.
I'm saying that then. Any primers in chat? Round 2. The skins that we're getting with these prime drops are getting better and better with the times, I would say. And better is Astro also getting it as he finds the opening kill onto Aces. That's the orange off the board, and maybe soon after, Leon Gids will follow. He punches the window and gets shot in his side once again. And it looks like the defensive side of Leon Gids will follow the attacking side of him as well.
And that's not exactly the right person you want to follow into the dark there, Nick, but that's exactly what he does. Leon Gids at 1-7 now, and just doesn't exactly seem to have that awareness that is atypical of a Leon Gids style of game. Rogue got the very first pick back in round number 6. Technically, it was Leon Gids who got that opening pick. That's the only time the first blood has gone in their favor. And FaZe Clan saw that and said, and I took that personally. So now they're back right at it, trying to get as many as possible. Though a nice roam from Rips down below, over by the strip door, and, well, you have to say goodbye to Cameraman. The Jackal won't be able to inflict any damage on you. No, sir. No, ma'am. Not at all.
Rips choosing to go into strip to hide and bide his time. I think that's quite smart from him because the FaZe is going to know that he's on the roam now. He's going to waste a bunch of time with that Jackal off the board. He'll either have to drone in completely or just wait around. Crying up above still. FaZe Clan not having the up above control that they wanted. I thought they had it. It appears they didn't. And Crying strikes back. Now it's a 3 versus 3, but there's only one player from Secret on, or sorry, one player from Rogue on the side, but no diffuser for FaZe. So how much value does this bomb set actually grant you? It doesn't matter. Quiet founds one, and Prano just swings up in the hallway, leaving Astro the one person to find the opening kill early on in the round. Last man standing in the kitchen hallway door. He can almost taste the diffuser, but not quite as it's inside of bar. He'll move to stock and make his way around. He's got the scope in hand, the better gun against the mirror, but Rips says no. And the round goes in favor of Rogue, despite the, I would say, horrible early round from them, as Astro and FaZe found 2 opening kills.
It is really remarkable how Rogue were able to turn that one around, given the fact that it was 2 kills for FaZe to break this wide open. But the 5v3 lead is the most dreaded lead in all of Rainbow Six.
It is indeed. I'll say Rips did a really good job. He was up above first floor, went into strip to hide, came back to bar, held diffuser. So he was everywhere and nowhere at the same time. Ryan came back to connector up on top floor and provided great cover as well, basically keeping FaZe in the dark and had to keep guessing on the whereabouts of Rogue. And it was a slippery slope as they kind of just went through the hands of FaZe, as I was under the impression that FaZe actually got full top floor control, but I was in the wrong.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs as they can.
Round 8. CCTV we go. And let me see here. There is no mirror on the board this time. Okay, check. There is a smoke. It's Prano, top fracker for his team. Check. Rips on the Aruni. He likes the gun on that on the Aruni with the Roni. I was going to say that sounds super weird in my head, but that is the case here. Crying on the Melusi this time around as Leon Gids has found himself on Jaeger, perhaps thinking that maybe he can just put down the ADSs and at least protect his teammates that way, because his gun is not going to do that much protection in this case.
10 seconds to insertion.
I was trying to think of a way to do that potato you did earlier, but some say Rooney, some say Roni, but then I realized it doesn't really work.
Aruni. He has a Roni weapon.
I don't know, I was trying to see if it would work out. It does not, in fact, work out. Now you just look like a fool.
Oh, I look like the fool now.
No, I look like the fool.
Oh, okay, I was going to say it was your idea.
I was going to say you look more like me, which is foolish in this particular instance. So we are looking at what might be a defender-sided Clubhouse. And this might surprise most of you because this is such an attacker-sided map all the time. They're going to open up some of the wall here over by CCTV. There's an exothermic charge up there as well, and Astro for FaZe will get his team another opening duel. Really exceptional stuff to give them an extra bit of mileage. But Leon Gids answers back. I don't know what Bullet was doing, and I don't know if he just simply got shot through that opening that was created on the wall of CCTV, but he falters, and then he falls to Leon Gids.
Yeah, wall got opened up. Well done for FaZe. It was a 1-for-1 trade, so honestly, no one really came out the victor necessarily. FaZe still has the grenades in hand, and those will come in crucially if they want to go for a garage take, as they will need to find a way to remove Leon from these rafters. We saw earlier FaZe, when they played the catwalk, they were lacking assistance, but Aces down below will make sure that Leon Gids is not left alone. But FaZe might have a different idea here, as they're going for that single connector wall. Could be for a distraction, could be for a late round flank, for all we know, but that is what's going on right now.
As the wall inside of construction opened up as the second exothermic charge goes off for Souls. He's used both of his. You see that line cut through the top of the reinforcement over by CCTV. Right there, look at that. Oh, hey, would you look at that? I said, would you look at that? And it's opened up wide. As such, Rogue has vacated most of the bomb site. You see them hanging out on what we refer to as the peripheries. One's over by, one's in garage, one's over by bedroom, and it's a gunfight to end the server right now. Cyber's the only player from FaZe who's been felled in this ensuing fray. Aces and Cryan in a 2v3. They're waiting to get back to the bomb site, and they're putting in some good work to do just that. Cryan takes out Cameraman, but then gets felled, and Aces will join him in the afterlife. FaZe had a bit of a scare, but they make it work, and their lead stretches back to 2 rounds as they close in on match point.
Here is nice done from FaZe. That single wall in construction getting opened up eventually just created a lot of pressure. I believe it was Astro or was Cameraman, or someone, I think it was Cameraman on the block, flanked, and it came with a great value. Leon gets on the rafters and 90 holding the breach, and they got swung from the garage door instead. There's something about these catwalk players looking in the wrong direction that's been like kind of like the vibe of the day today for the games that we've seen so far. Overall, FaZe with a nice strategy and a nice round indeed, and something just came to my mind. We spoke about Prano quite a lot, being the support player to do it all. You know, it's like the Brid, like the Shepherd, like the Kendrew, like me, as you said, Parker, etc. But Souls from FaZe is actually of a very similar situation. He is also what I call the Bride of Latam. He can frag, he can plant, and he clutches all the time. It is not weird for us to see him top of the leaderboard, and FaZe is pretty even. 8, 5, 5, 7, and 7 kills across the board, so Souls is not too far behind. Not quite pulling a Prano being the actual kill leader, but do remember that Prano got 2 free kills the one round that he was being a gargoyle outside Jacuzzi, so realistically Prano is 9 and 6, not 11 and 6.
Nick, you're a caster at the moment.
At the moment, yes.
At the moment, and I just want to let you know that you are not allowed to praise a player as much as you have been for Prano, because now you are going to get angry people in your mentions telling you that you are a fanboy, that you are biased, that you are a biased caster, that you are biased for a region, that you won't stop talking about one player in particular, etc. And I just want to let you know that that's what your life is now, and I'm just going to let that marinate for a second here.
That is why I spoke about Souls, about evening out the numbers, comparing support player to support player, thermite to thermite, and good player to good player would devalue the bias.
No, they won't remember that.
Alright, well in that case, I'll make sure to either be nice to every single player or be nice to none at all. Right now, FaZe making good work of that wall, also opening up the garage door. Cameraman opening up the Jacuzzi wall. Again, FaZe setting up for the possibility of coming from both sides, keeping Rogue guessing. Rips will see the destruction from the default camera. Now you have to guess, is that the only destruction they've made? Have they gone into gym? Have they opened up that wall? Could they be inside of master bedroom now? Those are the thoughts of Rogue at the minute.
Cryan gets droned out. I didn't know if he was going to see that, as it's on the little half landing before the billiard table by bathroom on the first floor of Clubhouse. They could have hunted him down, but Cryan is now retreated over to Strip Club. He's got Aces down below to assist. Now Aces is not going to be able to get up to the Strip Club that easily. He'll instead head for Secret and go up blue stairs. Over towards Lounge if he so chooses. Cryan now has an avenue back because of the rotate, so he'll get out of the spot that he found himself in. No sticky situation. Easier to rotate than it was before. I don't like the way that FaZe is clearing this out. It looks like they have no intel on Secret.
Yeah, it seems a bit weird. Like, even Cryan feared for his life, ran all the way back into the strip just to impact himself out, looking for an opponent and expecting them to be there. But Cryan is all alone. FaZe does not give a damn. Now, Ace is looking for the play, chooses not to go for it, understanding that Rogue are in a decent position in the 5 versus 5. They, however, FaZe that is, FaZe will need a way to break this. It will either be the garage, the straight push from the breach, or just the push from everywhere. But right now, it's not very clear what they want to do unless Cameraman finds the opening for his team. It'll be Astro instead from FaZe, finding the likes of Cryan, and now the execute comes through.
And down goes Aces. Leon Gids is on the floor, bleeding out as well. Prano and Rips in a 2v3 because Bullet is downed as well. Technically a 3v4, but now Rips is gone and Prano's the last one alive. You praised this man a ton, but he's about to be blind. And is he dead? Cameraman wants to secure, and he will do just that. FaZe Clan not just secure the final kill, but they secure match point as well with it.
Oh my days, though my discs are just like doing a lot of unintentional team damage today. We saw one of the earlier matches with Empire, like the Womai disc caught a grenade, destroyed everything on the defensive side, and now poor Prano got blinded from it as well. Not much you could do with that flashbang change where as long as you're within a certain amount of distance from the flashbang, no matter which direction that you look upon or look in, it will still blind you. It doesn't work to 180 or look away like it used to unless you're very, very far away. Jim is up next. No timeout from.
Sorry, hold on. What was that noise?
That was like the intro beat for the round by the start. It's like it's like the intro cue, if anything.
I have never heard that.
My headset's been making that sound all day. You haven't heard it once?
Locate and defuse bombs.
Your headset's broken, Parker. That explains a lot of things if you ask me. Anyway.
Explains my casting.
Okay. Anyway, we are on Gym defense. Leon gets on the mirror, so perhaps we're now seeing a more passive and laid-back Leon gets, or maybe he just wants to use the Vector. Maybe he thought, you know, the 416 carbine from Jaeger didn't do it for me, Melusi's MP5 didn't do it for me, and now he's seen himself on the side of a very high-firing weapon with a fair amount of bullets and a fair amount of damage. Overall, decent DPS. Of course, Rogue extending out to the CCTV side of things, nothing weird about that whatsoever, and Aces will make sure to put down the jammers to make sure that they are safe and sound inside their small little castle that is called the Cash Room. Now, the one way that FaZe can deal with this quite easily, well, there are actually two ways, three if you count Sophia. There's the vertical from down below, the Maverick on the wall, and of course the Buck vertical as well. Although Rogue hasn't reinforced a whole lot of walls, they've actually chosen to leave one of them soft, playing a more aggressive style of this cash hold. I thought they were gonna go for too hard, but it's only one.
Rogue have used all their reinforcements, though, so the question then becomes, if they've left some walls soft, where did they ultimately throw them all that they don't have any remaining, Nick?
Well, they did the one on catwalk wall here to enable the catwalk precision, so that is one. They did the outside two walls there, that's three. They got two jacuzzi, one connector, one on the single wall in metal, and bathroom should be, and yeah, there it is. That's all 10. Thank you very much.
Quick maths, as we want to call it.
Yeah, that's 10. I didn't count, but that's 10. It has to be.
The only denial available right now, Aces on the mute, can very easily stop any of the hard breach from happening, and I want to know what's going on over there again.
I was gonna say.
I hear it, and they absolutely go off, and that's the OXG Chiefs match. That is going to be, that would be a hell of a show.
They're both going home as well, so they might just be giving it 110%, Parker.
Well, I mean, it sounds like the casters sure are, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, they want to make a good show out of it, and I think that we're getting a decent show over here as well, but not as exciting, I will say, as the supposed game on the twitch.tv/Rainbow Six Bravo stream that is going on as well.
Go give our British comrades some time of day, as there's obviously some huge animation and excitement over there. That said, FaZe Clan are very close to being able to close the door on Rogue taking first in this group. This Brazilian supremacy that's going on. Nip in first place in their group. Team 1 in first place in their group. I mean, we are here for our LATAM overlords, are we not? And they look destined to take first, as long as FaZe can survive the next.
Very nice from FaZe using that, but Aces reads it, takes the head off of Astro instantaneously, and FaZe looked like the smarter team, but Aces made them look like fools.
And there's going to be more killing going out now, but FaZe is the ones credited with these kills. Look at that kill feed. It's blue so far. Souls finally falls to Prano's gas. Bullet will hop out the window and reposition. Over on the gym side of things, that's where they are. What can they do?
They're slowing down for now, seeing what they can do. Cyber very low on health, and so is Bullet. There is one guy on the window, one guy inside of construction. Make that two now with Cyber joining up as well. Diffuser has been picked up, but look at Ace's position. There is no chance they know his whereabouts. They don't know what's inside of office, and Aces will make quick work once they make their way through. Even though Cameraman has the full health, no, Cameraman is just a better player. Bullet finds one as well, leaving Prano as the last man standing. But FaZe, they take the game, and they will be the top victor of their group. They solidify themselves with a win over Rogue, and they want to prove a point that they're going into playoffs looking strong. Clubhouse is a map where Rogue, they thrive, but FaZe looked very much like a thriving team as well.
Well, very well done here. And in Group A, FaZe Clans solidify their spot. No dabbing allowed. Sorry, Cyber, you can't do that. So FaZe Clan finish off the group stages 5-1, but that 1 comes all the way in overtime. So great job for FaZe Clan to make it out of the groups with all the points that they can get. And obviously, they're very excited about that. And nice Batman jerseys, too, if I do say so myself. I'm a fan of Batman,
Agreed.
so there you have it. That's it for Nick and I for the group stages. We'll be back for the quarters, but there's still more matches to go. We're just going to say goodbye as a duo to you here in the groups. The analysts will be hopping on in just a second to walk you through what we just witnessed. But of course, a break. We'll be back in just a few.
What does it take to create the future of a gaming community? Join us on this 4th episode of I Call Next as we discover how to level up gameplay and reset the expectations of an entire league. PayPal, press play.
Easy going right there. One more to go.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the show. I'm Alex the Medic. With me is Fresh, and may I say, I love the collar on your shirt.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Nice. Can we get some appreciation for the stylings? And we are still in the group stage. So don't you worry, on the playoffs, everybody's going to look even snazzier. So let's look back on what happened in this matchup, specifically with our replays. Zal went down between FaZe and Rogue on Clubhouse, the most classic of maps, Fresh.
Yeah, and it's one that Rogue play well, but FaZe simply just better. They're another level.
Honestly, built different.
Built different,
I'd be saying. FaZe Clan, of course, with way more experience internationally as a team, despite some of the changes that they had roster-wise over the past year. Rogue, of course, I know a lot of people have been talking about, oh, it's the first time Rogue actually got out of groups since forever. this is not the same Rogue. Literally, Ace is the only person that's left from that, and you kind of have to dig back into the one-up days of SI 2018 to find kind of the rest of the squad, and then Leon to IDK all the way in the day in Valencia 2018.
Did you see that little graphic that somebody did about the Rogue team that mapped it all out? That was so good.
If the person who made that graphic that was posted on the subreddit is watching right now, thank you very much. Actually, a beautifully done.
Just to see the links of the players and the teams.
Genuinely, there's a lot of creativity in this.
There is.
You know, the entire Siege community, but especially in the esports scene. So I think that definitely helped a lot of newcomers and people that were not around in the 2018 era of Siege.
Yeah, because obviously Rogue of old did have this land curse of being grouped and whatnot, but it's an entirely different team. There's a different coaching structure with Arku, EP, Bernadette, coaching, management, team structure, support staff structure, that's the word I'm looking for, and just so many new players. So
yep, it really has changed completely, and you see there's a lot of difficulty trying to peek through that hatch into logistics and through into the mesh, and it still is able to work out for Aces, one of the most talented players in EU, but even that, it is just not enough to go through FaZe Clan in a match that, like we mentioned before, only matters seeding-wise, with Cyber at the top, 10-6, 11-7 for Cameraman.
And it was a comfortable performance by FaZe. That's the thing, is they've played excellently throughout these group stages, unbeaten, not unbeaten, but played very well. They're going into this in a good run of form. We talked about Rogue. They had a couple of losses today, and we talked about how that can halt the momentum and what it looks like going forward. Obviously, they still don't know their opponent yet. There's still matches to be figured out, groups to be figured out, but a difficult day for Rogue all round, and a very good day for FaZe all round.
All right. So FaZe and Rogue, like we said, are already qualified to the playoffs. This is a seeding matchup. So let's take a look at the standings to kind of close out their group completely. So on the screen, and here it goes. Again, FaZe Rogue, 15 points for FaZe Clan, 11 for Rogue. FaZe with 5 wins and 1 loss. Honestly, it's really impressive. They went 41 rounds to 13 loss. That is incredibly impressive. And that's even on top of the fact that they opened day 1 with 14-0 on Monday. Yeah,
that's the thing. Take that loss away. Take 7 rounds away, and obviously the few rounds that they won, I think it was a 7-5. So you're talking, what, 35-8? Like, that's sensational. They put in a shift in this group stage. You can talk about the Chiefs being from APAC South, potentially a bit of a weaker region internationally. Inexperienced new players. There's only Ethan we've really seen before in that team. Auction standing with a coach. But you've still got to turn up and beat what's in front of you. You've got to keep your mind concentrated for 3 days straight, and FaZe have managed to do that.
It is a lot to push into a team, and of course, that inexperience you need just time. That's it.
Yes.
Sometimes you can be the most talented players ever, but obviously that have been such rare events over the past 2 years since the finals in Tokoname that you just need time to get back into the swing of things, learn things, and if anything, this is a learning experience for all the teams, the ones that go to the playoffs, but also the ones that get knocked out and have to go home after this event.
Yeah, and it's coming back to the Chiefs particularly, the time that they will have had and the scrims they've been able to have with EUL and EUCL teams while they're here. I know they've scrimmed some EUCL teams. I've spoken to a couple of CL coaches just about how that competition's going, and they're better for that because they find practice hard to get over because of the geography of the region they're in. So whilst they did finish third, they're disappointed. They will have gained a lot of experience.
All right, well, you know how you can gain some experience in terms of preparing you for certain situations in the game where you have to hit your opponents in a certain way and also practice your aim before you go into your nightly ranked session? Well, we got AimLab, our sponsors here in the entirety, pretty much the entirety of the league, and especially for our event here in the 6 major Sweden. And our good friend Sua that now works, or your old coworker, now works at AimLab, who's helped develop, even as the old coach at G2, a lot of simulations in the actual client, which is quite cool.
Did he create the blue balls? I wasn't going to let you get away with it.
I think Jess has created quite a few of those. Ladies and gentlemen, let's then toss it to our ad. It's AimLab. Check them out.